In this lesson, writing statement and corresponding parts, student will be able to identify congruents and similar figures, write corresponding parts in congruent and similar figures, and student will be able to write the statement of congruence or statement of similarity. So first, congruence, and corresponding. Congruent means exactly the same shape, same size. Corresponds means that they are in the same positions, that they are going to be equal, match, and so on. We have two examples. I have taken this from the Math World, Math Warehouse. Example number one, you will notice the first one, the triangle is symbolized by this three-side triangle right here. The letter A is corresponding to the letter X, and that's in the first place. It's match. The letter B, the middle one, should be matched to the letter Y, and the letter C is matched to the letter Z in the last place. So that is what we mean by correspond. Corresponding angles, colored by the red colors on angle A and angle X here. On the right hand side, we also have side corresponding, and when we're talking about side, we have two letters, JK and RS, and you will see that they are corresponding to each other. From the statement here on the very top, I have JK, the first two letters, that's one side, and the first two letters in the second one will be match. So we call the match part corresponding. And we also color it red on this side here for you. Another example from Math Warehouse, example 2. Notice how we put in quadrilateral and or polygon. If we don't know what the shape is called, we can just call it polygons. The letter D is in the how many place here? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's in the fourth place. The match vertex to angle D is going to be fourth place in the second one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the fourth letter is angle K. You can see we line them up, we match it up, and the correct terms in geometry is correspond or corresponding. So we have corresponding angles, and we colored it for you, angle D, angle K. In the statement, it will be in the same position like I counted before for you. On the right hand side, we also have the side. In quadrilaterals, quadrilaterals mean four sides. Again, if you have multiple sides and you don't know what it's called, it's always safe to call it polygons. So we have this side with two letters, and we are using the second and the third letters. Then the statement is going to have the match side in the same positions, the second and the third letter in the second quadrilateral. So BC is corresponding with side IJ, and we color the side for you in red. Side BC corresponding to side IJ or JI. What if it is not match? What if we have a different orientations? So what if the shape is turned? And that's what I put here. We turned it, as you can see in the second one. And what you will be asked is writing the statement, or you will be asked to find a side length or an angle degree measure. And that's what we want you to be able to do at the end of this lesson. Why don't we start with something simple first? And we are going to do a triangle, and you will notice that the second triangle is turned here. So what if the shape is turned like this one? these figures are congruent, and it's telling you here they are congruent to each other. They're asking you what is the measure of angle R. So here is angle R. It's in my second one. You will have to kind of turn it, imagine it turn with this side 50. We want it to be on the bottom, so it need to be turned to the left, right? This is how you can answer these questions. You rotate and line up the side and the angles, and then you can give the side or angle measure depending on what is asking you. So depending on what is asking you, if they are asking for and they are giving you the statement, and remember this is what the statement look like. Okay, I can't make this bigger. But the statement is this line right here where we have the symbol triangle NML congruent, and that's the symbol in the middle, to triangle RST, and they're asking for angle R, then you just find the first letter in the other statement is the angle N, and then you can give that angle. So angle R is missing, but angle N is given in the first triangle. We just have to line this the second one up, and then when we find the match or corresponding angle, we can get that answers. 43 degree is the correct answers. Now, what if we have more than one vertex? What is it called? I want to show you this cute video made by Noodle Kids. Just a couple minutes.
This point is called a vertex. I have more than one vertex. They are called vertices. Let's count how many vertices I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, a cube has 8 vertices.
Okay, we will stop it right here and return to it when we learn about three-dimensional shapes. At this time, we are going to move on to the lesson that we have for you today. First of all, I want to go over the word similars and congruence. Similars is going to be this wiggly little symbol between the statement if you have to write it. Similars are the shape that have the same exact shape but different sizes. You can see this one is smaller, this one maybe twice as big, 3 times as big, and it depends on the scale factor. If it's 2 times as big, then this size will be multiplied by 2. If it's 3 times as big, this side is multiplied by 3, and so on. And the heart as well. It can go from bigger to smaller as well. Congruent is this symbol, and I want you to make sure that we know this is an equal with the little squiggly things on top. So only the squiggly things is similar. The equal and the squiggly things is going to be called congruent. You can see we can start with some easy work like the left side right here. We have this where we ask you to identify if it's similars or congruent. You just write the answers in. Similars, they're exact same shape, same size. Similars are same shape but different sizes. We will progress to something a little bit more difficult with similars. For example, similar triangle, we will talk about proportional sides. Proportional sides are similars in similar figures. Sides are proportional, angles are congruent. And we need to know the difference between those two words, but that's in another lesson. We are going to go ahead and advance into the similars figures with the proportional side length. We ask you to calculate on this work. I'll go ahead and return the work here. Now, the definition itself. We talk about congruent versus similars. Congruent, remember, is the same shapes, the same exact size, the same exact angle measure. So same shapes, triangle with a triangle, that's mean congruent, a heart with a heart, the same size, and the same size here mean the same size length. This is 5, then this is 5. And if I have a decimal, 2.5, then this size congruent to it will also be 2.5. The same angle measure will be the same exact degree. 30 degree, this is 30 degree. Or 25 degree, this is 25 degree. It also has a little star right here said corresponding angles and side length are equal. The word is equal, and that's another word for congruent. Now, similars, we don't have the definition in yet, but we can go ahead and write it in right now. Similars are the exact same shapes, but we don't necessarily have the same size. It is going to be called, we are going to have proportional side. Proportion. Oh, I challenge you to spell this one right. Okay, proportional size. And that's where you see the side in fractions, like we showed you a little bit earlier. So we have to get used to this word once we learn about similars. Okay, so when we have congruent, it's going to be 1 to 1. This is something that you're going to see quite a lot. We write it 1 to 1. When we have something similar, we might say, hey, this is, why don't I write this one with this one? This is 2 to 1. Okay, so that's a scale factor of 2 that this smaller polygon is going to multiply 2 times to get the side length for this one, but the angles are going to be exactly the same. So congruent angles, just different sides. And the side will depend on the scale factor by 2, by 3, and that's when we learn about it, we will explore about proportional side. Okay, now we are going to make sure that you learn these words today. First, vertex, vertices, similars, and the similars is going to be related to proportional size, congruence, and we also want you to know the word correspond. What does that mean? Let's go ahead and take a look at how we would solve this kind of questions. You have this on the check for understanding. So these are in different orientations. I know that because this one is turn, and I don't have some of the angles here, but I do have some of the other angles in here, and it's telling me in this statement. This is the statement for the polygon or the quadrilateral, to be more exact. Quadrilateral four sides. Polygon is when we don't know what it's called. Okay, JILK, we have the statement, and I recognize this is congruent, right? The word is congruent. Let's type in the word congruent for this one. So these are congruent figures, and that's because of this symbol. That's how I recognize it. So I have JILK congruent to QRST. This one is turn. Maybe we can turn it this way, and that is how we would be able to get it back. So let me go ahead and make sure that we put it this way. I turn that way, and I get angle Q to be angle J over here, right? Angle R is going to be like angle I over here, and so on. Anyway, what is the question? It's asking for IL, and notice IL is two letters. So two letters always mean side and never an angle. An angle will only be one letter, letter I, or it can be three letter, which is Lij. If I'm reading the angle I, it could be that one letter by the vertex, or Lij or Jil, three letters. Never two letters. When we have two letters, it means a side. So what are the side? The side are the second and the third one here. So the easiest way for me is to look at the congruent statement. The second and the third side on the second one is RS. Am I given RS? RS is this side right here. You see this side? Yes, we are given that number. It is 20 centimeters. So if they're asking for IL, which is missing right here, I know it's matched with RS, which means they're congruent to each other. And I'm going to have 20 for the answers. So 20 is the answer. 20 centimeter is the answers. If you are tricked with 20 and this unit, remember that unit? Yeah, make sure that you cross it out because we don't have the degree on the side. Never, ever, ever. Side lengths will have centimeters, meters, feet, inches, so many degree unit, but never a degree unit. The degree unit is only on the angle, like this one. And on angle I know it's 121 degree. On angle K, I know it's 116 degree, and so on. Let's try another questions. This one is these figures are congruent. Again, we are given the word congruent. Oops. Let me take this one out. Let's try another questions. These figures are congruent. So they're not giving me the statement, like the last one, but they are telling me that these are congruent. And I know they're different orientation again. This one, it seemed to be turned. What is UV? Again, I have two letters. That means we are looking for a side length. And it's no problems. We can work this out. The side length UV, sometimes you will have a segment symbol on the top. UV is, where is it? Right here. Okay, so we are looking for this side length, and I put the question mark there. We're looking for this. Oops, like that. You want to make a little dash at the end there. Okay, so imagine if I turned it and I get 48-degree angle to be matched up over here, and that means I have to turn it this way, right? Going up that way until the angle is angle U is on the top. Then this side will be the left hand side, and it looked like it's going to be this one. So my answers is going to be 55 feet. And it's on the left, it is not on the right, so don't get these answers. And absolutely, if they trick you with a choice that has 55 degree, then make sure that you cross this answer out because a side length is never a degree unit. The degree unit can only be asking for an angle measure. Okay, some fill in the blank vocabulary words. Congruent figures have the same size and the same shapes. Their corresponding parts or matching size and angles are congruent. Very important concept that we want to go over again with this filled in the blank. Their correspond congruent figures, their corresponding parts are congruents, meaning matching blank size have the same length, and the matching blank angles have the same degree measure. Now, some of the question we will ask you to name the congruent parts of congruent figures. What are the congruent part? We have angles, we have size. Remember, angle can be 1 or 3 letters. Side, always 2 letters. Okay, angles, we can go ahead and pick on any of these angle. I will pick the one with the first arc, one arc. So angle E, I'm going to have the one arc on this, on the second triangle. That's angle S. And that's how you write it, the congruent symbol, the angle E congruent to angle S. Make sure that you practice writing with the geometric symbol. What is the next one? How about a 2-arc one? 2-arc is angle D on the left, and the 2-arc on the right is matched with angle R on the right. And the last one, the 3-arc one, we have angle F on the left and angle 3-arc T on the right. Now, size, we can write only with 2 letters, right? Never a 1 or 3 letters. Okay, size, don't get confused. 2 letters, we can go ahead and start with the first one, the one with the 1 tick mark, ED. And which side on the second one will match with this one? SR, RS, SR, 1 tick mark. Okay, now the next one, 2 tick mark, or 2 little dash as you usually call it, but to be correct, it's called tick mark. EF. ST in the second one. And finally DF, the side with the 3 tick mark on the left, with this side with 3 tick mark, RT on the right. Now the congruent statement, you must list all of the letters in these and vertices in the same order. Usually the triangle congruent statement, I would try to name the first triangle in alphabetical order. So EDF, alphabetically, I would try D first, right? D, E, F. A, B, C, D, E, F. So I would try to call it D, E, F. Now, can you practice with that? Pause and try and see if you can write the correct triangle congruent statement if I have D, E, F on the left. What would be the match correct congruent statement on the right hand side? Okay, we give you this example, EDF, and remember all the vertices must be in the same order. If we have E first, then the matching one is the angle S first, and then we have triangle SRT. We ask you to stop or pause and try to write the correct congruent statement for triangle DEF when we started in the alphabetical orders. Now you want to go ahead and pick the match vertices on the right hand side to write it in. Okay, more on the naming of congruent parts of congruent figures from a congruent statement. Okay, so here we are giving you the statement. List the congruent corresponding part. Again, the angles. We can start with the angle H, then the first letter in the second one, angle L. Next one, angle I, match with angle, yes, angle M. Angle J, match with or corresponding with angle N. And finally, the last letters, we are going to have letter K or angle K, match with the last one in the second one, angle O. And the size, you are picking 2 at a time. And remember the match HILM, psi ij, the next one, MN, JK to NO. And finally, HK, you will notice that letter H and letter K is the first one and the last one. And so we are going to get the first and the last one in the second figure, LO. And so when we have the statement, it is not a big deal to write the congruent corresponding angles and congruent corresponding sides, right? Okay, this is a little bit more advanced for later. When we have time, we're going to work out more involved problem. Another step up from easy work before, congruent statement. Pause and try this one and see if you can get the correct answers. Again, I want you to pay attention. The first triangle, the first one, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay, so we want to make sure that all the letter in the first one is in alphabetical orders. And then from the first one, we are going to write the match vertex. Angle F with one arc. So then angle J, one arc. That's what I'm going to start with, angle J. And then letter G is two arcs. So then that would be matched with K. And finally, this one, do you remember what the name for this one opposite angle in intersecting line is called? Yeah, that one, letter H. What is the name for that angle? Look it up. You can look it up on your flashcard. You can look it up in your notes. We have learned this and we have repeated this quite a few times before. The third angle theorems: if two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of another triangle, then the third two angle of another triangle, then the third angles are congruent. Pause and try. Pause and try this problem. Thank you for watching. It is time to practice.